Hi, everyone. So, for your lesson three learning journey, what you really have to do is broken down into two parts. The first part is once you complete the lesson three, part one lesson, the class, once you finish watching the class recording based on what we've done on lesson three, part one, and you've also finished lesson three, part two, then you need to come and showcase what you've actually done. So, you need to explain it. So, basically, what has been done is that now, if a user tries to enter a username and by accident, does not enter password or confirm password and clicks done, it's going to say that you need to enter all fields. So there's validation and that's presence check, right? So there needs to be data in here in these two fields. Also, another check is if I enter a password that is not 8 characters and I'm entering Alicia, my name with capital ALISA, and I click on done, it's going to tell me that, first of all, my passwords don't match if they don't match. And also, if, well, my passwords don't match, and let's say I put like I put, you know, just these few characters in. So, and even let's just do that. And I click on done, for example, it's going to tell me to fill all the fields again. So there's validation right there. And then if I do a cat and I click on the same thing, it says that my password needs to be at least 8 characters long. So you've seen that it does that check when the password isn't that amount of characters. And so that's the check for the length check to make sure that the password is at least 8 characters. So now I'm going to type in my password as Alicia Hab. And if I type a password like they don't match, if I click on done, it's going to tell me the passwords and confirm password doesn't match. So I'm going to type Alicia and Hab. And let's see now. So once I click on that, if everything's fine, it will be okay. If it is not fine, as in my passwords don't match, it would say that. So I'm going to type in password, okay, and then just password again. So password twice. Okay, and once I click on done, registration is successful. So my passwords do match, and that's pretty much it. Once I click OK, now the other thing I did was to do the hashing of this password. So if you go back to the code, then you're gonna see that down below, we've actually included, or I've actually included, because this is how you have to explain it in the video, you've included your hash password method. And what this is doing is that it's taking the password that the user is entering and it's passing it through this algorithm called the SH256 algorithm, where it basically hashes the password to get it into bytes. And hashing just means like bunch of random letters and numbers, which pass through like millions of computational processes. And it's basically storing it as a string later on, which is basically what's going to be printed as test, just to test it out, so that we can see it. So if we go to console, you can see that the password is being printed out right here, which is the one that was hashed, the one that was actually correct. And you can see password as well because it was 8 characters, and you can see Alicia. So this is the first part of the lesson three learning journey submission, explaining your program up until the progress that we've done. So what are we looking forward to? The next thing we're going to do is now to generate the Imogongo pattern. And so the Imogongo pattern will be like a cybersecurity badge that basically confirms and authenticates that this person has successfully signed up. So this person is now a user of the Code Hills app, which is intended to bridge the gap between startup founders and just founders or people interested to start up businesses in Rwanda with innovators, but these people don't have any business ideas whatsoever. They don't know about the abundance of resources that are available and cheap for you to start a business from small scale, middle scale to large scale businesses. So this app is meant to provide bespoke guides, business guides. It's not like you can, you're probably wondering, but AI can do that. AI can do that, but it doesn't have that human touch, that Rwandan touch, whereby a person in Rwanda knows very well where to access the resources in a very cheap and easy way. and knows very well what kind of businesses can be started with those resources. So AI is being used as an assistance to guide to create these bespoke startup guides for startup founders and founders interested to invest in Rwanda, starting from very small businesses opening shops to sell products that are smart products, and also to make these founders visualize and see how the business would actually be. So, to entice them to start businesses in Rwanda, to get encouraged to start businesses, to invest in Rwanda, which would build the economy. And also, anybody in Africa who wants to invest in Rwanda and start a business, to get the ideas and know where to access the resources and how to do the business, show them the process, how to do it. And there is going to be a sample business that will be on this app that actually shows them taking the reason it will be there is by because I strongly believe in seeing is believing. So seeing that an actual business idea was generated from this app and was taken and actually being made into a business, into a startup business, gives all the most confidence ever. So this is going to also be part of this app. When startup founders log in and sign up, that's the first thing they would see, is how it's possible to do it. If I could do it, you can do it. So that's the idea. Now, the second part of this is obviously now we have to go on to docs, because now you have to write your problem statement, your solution, and of course, you have to, these are the first two things to do. So, the first thing you will do here is starting off to write your system design and development proposal. We are going to follow the typical SDLC lifecycle, which is basically the steps in which you take to document the process in which you design and develop a system. So, first thing we'll need to do is obviously put a title here, right? And that's going to be the rationale. Oh, that was misspelt. And that would be the problem statement. So rational as in problem statement. You could put that there. So what is the problem and what is was so many founders, you know, we can say many startup founders and just individuals, right? Startup founders. And I'm just gonna put a hyphen here. In Rwanda or individuals. These can be students, professionals in Rwanda, and across even in Africa. So in Rwanda, Africa, and beyond, would like to start up or would like to start a business, you know, from Rwanda, but do not have the ideas on how to start the business. And when we talk about that, so do not have the ideas. And so to break down, give more context into what we mean by ideas, meaning to further explain, right? To further explain this, ideas, these individuals and startup founders are not aware of the abundant natural resources available in Rwanda that can be used as primary source to create products, biodegradable products, eco-friendly products, you know, name it, water products, for tangible business startups that yield profit starting that yield profits from very small revenues invested, right? And another problem which this app is intended to solve is that they also don't. So, again, additionally, many startup founders are not able to visualize how a profitable business, whether small scale, middle scale, or large scale would be like in terms of creating the products from scratch, right? Because some of them, and these products were that will be available as bespoke would be from home, even from home, etc. So they're not aware of how to do this. I'm just correcting here where necessary, which obviously you should definitely go through to make sure everything is grammatical friendly. So in terms of creating the products, would be in terms of creating the products from scratch and packaging the products so they don't know whether the additionally, many startup founders are not able to visualize what a profitable business would look like, right? What a profitable business would look like, whether small scale or large scale. I probably will erase that in terms of creating the products, in terms of packaging the products, a place to set up to sell the products, to set up to sell the products, how to make the products unique, right? This is also something. So, how to make the products unique is also something that they don't know about. How to make the products unique, how to market the products, right? How to create content to market the products, and even how to sell the products in Rwanda, to sell the products in Rwanda and globally, right? So this is some of the thing. These are the main problems that this Rwandan Code Hills app is meant to solve by creating these bespoke high-end business ideas that are readily available and focusing on just 6 resources, right? So this is the first part, and then you can of course add more to the rational problem statement. And then the next one is now proposed solution, right? Proposed solution. So proposed solution. And this is where we will explain how the one in Code Hills is meant to be able to provide solution. So how is it supposed to provide solution? And that's right, the very brief explanation here to this problem that is being occurred, or this problem that's currently on hand. So that's what you need to do. And now, just before we go back into the proposed solution, because this is what you have to type in for your lesson 3 learning journey, I want to play a video that's really important to understand that as a software developer, you're not just developing software, you're also trying to create software that is a system solution, which is a solution in its words. So it is trying to create and provide a solution to a problem. You're not necessarily trying to flatter what your software app is going to do, what the Code Hills app is going to do, but you're actually proving with real world evidence. And this is why when you showcase your own business that you've been able to establish, which is what we eventually want to help you do at the end of this program, it's going to be showcased on your app. It's going to be here for founders to see, for any individual who wants to start up a business using Code Hills to guide them through that process. They will see the reality. They would see you going through that process. And so the way the solution needs to be drafted is speaking to anybody relating to anybody, whether in Rwanda, in Africa, or beyond, and explaining to them not phrasing what your solution is, but how you're going to solve a problem and how you're going to solve this problem where there's this gap, not just in Rwanda, but in Africa and beyond, where there are many individuals that want to start up a business but have no idea, right? They have no idea how to start up that business. They don't know how to start up something. They don't know even how to get the resources to be able to start up the business. And you can provide that, you can make that easy, you can give those solutions, and you give it that human touch, which is what makes us humans different from AI. AI is there to assist. It makes you visualize things you never thought could be visualized. And that's what you want to put in front of this founder, in front of this person, that this is a business that you can do. You can start small scale from your home even and start making it. And this is how you make it. This is how you package it. And this is how you get it sold. This is how you create content for what you want to sell as a business, and this is the amount of money you need. So considering everything and adding that special touch to it based on the business that you're trying to promote, based on the business that you're trying to make this founder to start up and promote, is exactly what CodeHill's app is about. Now, CodeHill's app focuses on six resources, right? We've already seen this before, and I just want to open that up. Just another, really important aspect here. So let me see if I have it opened up, or I probably just need to write. Let me see. Okay, give me a moment because I think I would definitely have to show you one more time just exactly what these resources are that we keep focusing on, even though we've seen this from the onset. We've seen this from the beginning, from the start. So CodeHill's app is focusing on six main abundant resources in Rwanda. However, there are more and you can add more to it. And these resources can create multiplicities of all kinds of business ideas with all types of budgets that are revenues that can be started with from small scale all the way to large scale. So it's this one, obviously, but I want to load it onto a bigger scale. But these are the resources, right? Umuravumba, we have the Sisala and the Urubingo reeds, we have the clove basil, Umwenya, we have the Perithrum and Urubingo, and then we have Rwandan specialty coffee and premium tea. And this are, again, just one resource. Like, for example, the Rwandan specialty coffee can go into making many other type of business ideas. Like, even if you are trying to create a coffee shop, what are the ways that you can make your business stand out for a medium scale? For example, single origin coffee subscription box, a cold brew coffee concentrate, right? Rwandan coffee experience kit. So there could be a kit that's particularly a smart kit that whenever a person wants to be able to take Rwandan coffee. It's not just, there's so many type of coffees, right? So you can't say, oh, this is Rwandan coffee, so buy it. I'm not convinced to buy it. I need to know why. I learn about the history of the farmers, the hills where this coffee is coming from, the seeds, what makes it more delicious and organic. And so there's like maybe a scanning that happens, a code or something I enter or something that comes with my kit that I buy. And when I scan it or open it on my phone, maybe even using a QR or something even more intelligent, I see this beautiful display of a catalog of it's like a storytelling about the whole story of how the coffee came to be, and I'm now drinking this coffee. So there's different business ideas, and then we have the water products that come with that. So where water is more than 90% the main ingredients. Again, this gives ideas to have water products again as a business, right? Someone would want to start up a business for water products with these abundant resources in Rwanda. So keep in mind that this app is focusing on six main abundant resources in Rwanda. And when you talk about what your app is meant to solve, well, it's meant to solve this huge gap that again does not only exist in Rwanda. This is a versatile system solution that is plausible for any country and can be used in any country because all countries have abundant resources. But in Rwanda, you're building the gap between people who have very maybe little income, more income. They can start up something, and that's bespoke Rwandan. And this is also for people who want to invest in Rwanda from Africa and people beyond. And so Rwanda is transcended into a certain level in the global stage. Now, that's what you have to think about before you start typing in your solution. Now, before we type in the solution, and there's one thing I want to play, which is a video, very important video about how Apple markets its products and what makes Apple different from all other electronic companies and computer device companies and just, tech companies. So let me play this video and I want you to listen to it and we'll come back into the solution.
That people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information.
Okay, and there
That
you
people
have
don't-
it. So there you have it. Why are we creating the Code Hills 1001 app? Why? So the reason is, right? Let's start off. The Code Hills 1001, and I want to say the Rwandan because it has that special, it will have that special Rwandan touch. So the Rwandan Code Hills 1001 app symbolizes the beautiful 1001 hills in Rwanda, or let's say symbolizes, we're going to use the 1001. Why do we have it? Symbolizes 1001 and more business ideas that transcend into profitable ventures, right? With a special Rwandan touch, sold locally, continentally, and globally, right? Sold successfully. So what this means? So what this means is that the Rwandan Code Hills 1001 app, or say, I would like to use the word system solution rather than the app. So I'm gonna rephrase that. System solution, right, is meant to bridge the gap between any individual, right? Startup founder, let's repeat that, wanting to start a business in Rwanda, but has no idea of what business to do that is bespoke Rwanda, right? And at the same time, relatable and profitable locally, relatable and profitable when sold. Like, okay, let's say that has to do a bespoke, that what kind of business to do that is bespoke Rwanda, to create products from absolutely easy to find resources, local resources in Rwanda, and to create products that are not just products, unique products, local to find in Rwanda, which can and let's say to find in Rwanda at a very starting, let's say not at, but starting from a very affordable price to a bigger cost depending on the type of, to a bigger cost depending on the scale of the business, which eventually, right, eventually becomes a product, a much needed product in Rwanda and beyond, right? But apart from that, the app, so the app, the system solution provides a complete Rwandan, right, bespoke guide from start to finish, directing or you can say facilitating, directing any individual wanting to start a business from Rwanda on how to do so, providing information on various possible products that can be created, right, from 6 abundant resources in focus, but you can have more, right, in focus, um, to become products for sale, and versatile, and use versatile, or you can products for sale, let's put that there as a period. So it starts from guiding any individual wanting to start a business from Rwanda on how to do so, right, from scratch, providing information on various possible products that can be created from 6 abundant resources. I would say, instead of in focus, abundant resources locally found and accessed, And you gotta talk about what these resources are, by the way. So you gotta give more insight. Accessed in Rwanda, um, with information and locally found and accessed in Rwanda, right? And then, of course, you have to talk about other things that, apart from the fact that you're creating this bespoke, your app or your system solution is providing this bespoke, complete guide on how to start up any business from these 6 abundant resources. You also provide information on how to source these resources in the most easy possible way and the most cheapest way, all the way to a expensive sort of find, depending on the scale of the business, depending on the budget of the person. So all this information, the budget, the city, the interest of the person in any of these resources, and also giving them a foresight to visualize and see this business through content that your system solution is providing them, video content, which is available on the YouTube channel for your system solution, where they would go click an app, right? They would be able to click a resource. And once they do that, then they would obviously they would enter their budget, they would enter a city of preference. And then once that's done, and any other things that you want to use in sort of filtering the right business plan for them, which will be generated, and that's a bespoke plan that's being created by the developer and creator of this Rwandan Code Hills system solution. And then, of course, in that plan and next to the plan, there is that video content that showcases the business, how it is being set up in reality, how they can create such a product from home, just an easy way to showcase. So these are more like for business people who want something easy to start up, that is easy to start up but yields a lot of profit. So all that information needs to be in the proposed solution. You need to be detailed about this. This document needs to be kept safely, because this is how you're going to be building this non-conventional software development lifecycle plan of your software solution as you develop it. Now, after you've done the proposed solution, now I kind of want you to do something non-conventional, which is going to be system design. Normally, if you look at the software development lifecycle, we do have stages before we get into the system design. We still have something else coming. We need to talk about clients and all that. But I'm trying to you need to make it summarized based on what you have. So system design, in terms of the first thing we're setting up, which is the sign up home screen, right? So let's say the home screen, but in the home screen, we're focusing more on the sign up slash login, but let's even be more specific and just say sign up. Now, for you to create a system design, I want you to use something called the System Flowchart. Now, if you're not familiar with this, you're going to get familiar with it. Let's learn about it a little. So the system flowchart, I'm going to explain more, but I need you to sign up into this website called Lucidchart. So go check Lucidcharts out, go to Lucidcharts, sign up with a free Gmail, and once you do, it will look like this. Once you're here, you're going to go and look for templates. And what we're looking for really on the system flow, on the Lucidcharts, is we're looking for templates that are what we call flowcharts. So when you sign up for free with your Gmail account or an email, you will come and click on templates and you will select flowcharts, and then you would click on use. When you do that, it will open for you the template where you can make a flowchart. And I'm going to explain to you what a flowchart is very briefly so you can make yours. Now, these are all the symbols that you need in the flowchart, by the way, so you can scroll through the side. It explains to you what the symbols are. So you have terminator, which is basically the end. Well, it's the start and the end. It shows like when your systems, where you're like, your whole system solution is broken down into like separate processes, right? This is what we call decomposition. So, and your processes each do something to make the whole system function, right? And so you have to have a start, you have to have the process. Process means like signing up, for example, or let's say entering username, password, and confirm password. That goes into the symbol of process, entering the input. But you can also use this one that's for input as well. Processing, maybe not entering, but like when they click the done button, it takes the username, it takes the password, and it takes the confirm password and runs it through the validation check. Now, the validation check is a decision, checking to see if none of the text boxes for username, password, and confirm password are blank. That's one check. Checking to see that the password is not less than 8 characters. That's a second check. And checking to see that the password and the confirmed password, match. That's the third check. So when all those checks are clear, then now what it would do before they can click on submit to sign up, or let's say, once they're all done, once they click done and all those checks are done, what would it do? It would now generate a hashed password, right? That's what it would do. And then once they click on submit, it will take that hash password and check if it exists in the database. But that's another process. Let's focus on just the sign up section. So what I want you to do is take these symbols. You can actually make use of these symbols. Let's say we have a start. This is our start process. And after we have a start, we have an input output. So what you can do is come back into the shapes option and you will see the shapes, okay? I believe you have all the shapes you need and you have this one. So this one is the one that you kind of want to connect to. And by the way, if these arrows are confusing you for whatever reason, you just want to like move them around here. And this one, you can always like take it away from here, like put it there for now. So, and then this one, you can move it to the side. Okay. So this is just making things easier for you. So I would take my start, not too much, but I would take it like there. And then this is like my process, my input output symbol. And what is the input? Basically, it's enter username. I'm going to do all of them together. And then we have enter password. And then we have enter confirm password. Right? So this is like how everything is. So you can make it as large as you want. Or I think you can probably like push it in there. So just make it look good. So this, you must have a start. That means for your sign up. Remember, this is a system flowchart for the sign up, not the whole Rwandan code hills, the whole system solution. So once this they enter, then the next thing is the process. So you can just drag an arrow down and then it tells you what symbol you need. So the symbol you need is process symbol. This is like saying what the process is. The process is now to do what? Click, they have to click, let's say, click. It's also an input, really, like clicking the, when they enter, then they click the the done button. That's like I would say maybe not a process, but um, checking, let's say checking, let's do it this way. Entered inputs after done button is clicked, right? That's a process. And that's to check it after done button is clicked for validation. Okay, so again, you can make the symbol larger and you can adjust it and make it look nicer and neater. So this is really what happens, right? And then what happens after that? So I actually brought a symbol here. So you can delete, just click in backspace. And a document is like if there's a document that's going to be produced. But in this case, for the sign up, we really don't have any document that's going to be produced. So I'm just going to delete this arrows for now. Okay, and then you can put a yes or no, by the way, but that's like for the decision. And that little bulb there, That's more for like if you want to change any shape, like that's part of like the functioning here. Anyways, so once they click the done button, so what's happening now is let's delete all this stuff. We don't need the comment stuff. So just get rid of anything you don't need. You can click on it and just, oh, I keep hitting the wrong key. I just want to get rid of the whole, yeah. Never mind my numlock. I'm trying to get rid of this symbol. There it is. Okay, so once they hit the done button, what's next? Your validation. What are your validations? Well, you've got a couple. Your validation is, first of all, checking if the first one are is data, or is are all fields, are all text boxes containing data, right? This is presence check. I'm just going to summarize it, right? Containing data. This is like what the decision is about. Like you're asking that if question, which is like what you did in the code. Like if you go back, just to make this make sense to you, if you go back to your program and you go back to the main your code, and if you go back to the place where you did the whole check for the validate inputs, you're going to see that here you check to make sure that everything is actually filled out. You didn't leave anything blank, right? So that's exactly what we're doing here. We're saying are all text boxes containing data. If yes, what's the next thing? The next thing is another check. So you know what I want to do? I want to take this a little bit higher up. And then I want to take this one closer up. And then I want to take this one closer up. And you're going to see why I'm doing this, because I want to sort of make a space like here. Instead of doing this arrow to be all the way here, I kind of wanted to connect it here. So like, let me see if I can make this arrow straight. It's kind of not straight, but yeah, you get the idea. Okay, so this is yes. Let's say if it's yes, then I'm going to do another decision. And what's the other decision? Is the password greater than or equal to 8 characters, right? That's the length check. So question mark. And then you can make this, of course, bigger. And that's the important thing. And so if it's bigger, if it's yes, what do you do? The next one. What's the next one? Is the password, or let's say not is, but do the password and confirm password match, right? So back again to the yes part. Oop, that's a large yes. Let's do a small yes. So if yes, 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 then what's going to happen is, oh, that's a no. Let's do the no on the other side. Let's keep the yes the way it is. So if yes, then what will happen is, yes, these are all yeses, yeses, yeses. You can keep going on to the side, by the way. It's not like you can't. You can just continue on from here and say, okay, what's next? If that's all yes, that means it's all passed. And so now what do we do? It's the process of generating the hash password, right? If you go back, if everything is all checked, right? If all these checks are done in your code, what did you say you would do? Go back to your done button. What did you say you would do? In the done button, you said when all the checks are done, right? Let's look for the one that says done button.add action listener. You said try validating the inputs, making sure everything is done. And when it is done, then you said do this, create a hash password, and it will print out a message that says registration successful. And everything else this is not necessary for the user. This is just for you to see what they've entered for now. So you don't need to print that, but you did generate the password and you said registration successful, pop-up message. If no, however, it means there's an error, and whatever the error is means it's not passed through this check successfully. That's really what happened, right? Or the hash password hasn't been generated. So we're going to go back and do it that way. That's exactly what. So if you said, if they've done all passwords, are all passwords containing data? Yes. Is the password greater than or equal to 8 characters? Yes. Do the password and confirm password match? Yes. Then we are up for the next process, guys. And the next process is to do what? It's to generate the hash password. So we need the process symbol. These are all other different type of symbols that you learn later on. But right now, this is also data. So this is like to keep information, which you could use because you could say the process is to generate the hash password. So generating hash password using the SHA-256 algorithm. You can definitely write that there because that's what's being used. And then what happens? And then after you've generated the password, you can then put data, right? Data. And data, I believe, is that symbol right there. So data meaning that your hash password, you can do this hashed password generated. That could also be an output. And then you're like outputting finally and saying, oh, right, successful. So you can do an output here. And I believe that's going to be this one. So you can just say output. What are you outputting? Or you can say print or pop up, whatever. I would use the word output. So output registration. So registration successful. And then that's like the message that would pop up. And then I would be like that. And of course, you can make the symbol. By the way, you can make your symbols larger if you want. So output registration successful. And then what happens after that? Pretty much that's it. Registration successful. It gets sent to the database. That's another important thing. And database is this one. No, it doesn't get sent to the database yet because they have to click submit. So the next thing is you're going to output a message and you can output another one and say click output, right? Now you can tell them now click the submit button to save your credentials, right? And so that's because it's an output, it's a message. That's why I'm using this parallelogram symbol because the parallelogram symbol, remember, is for input or output. And then finally, you come down here and then you end the terminal. So this will end the sign up process. Okay, this is ending the sign up. And here you can say starting. Oh, I forgot to starting the sign up process. Okay, so that's like ending the sign up process and that's it. Okay, what about if it's no? Well, if it's no, you probably just want to tell them go back and re-enter. Clear. You could do something like clear all fields, like clear text boxes, which is a process, and then prompt user to re-enter. So re-enter again. So that means it can go back to the start process. Really, you can just do this and redirect it back here. And if it's a no, right? And this is if it's a no. And so the same thing goes here and redirected back here. And if it's a no, and this one too kind of redirects it back here. So it's all if it's a no, 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 because, or you can just, again, clear the text fields and pop up a message and say, you can give them particular messages saying, oh, but your text boxes don't match. Please re-enter. You could do that. Like there are many ways you can get them, obviously based on your program. You have a pop-up that would say, and I think that's even the best thing to do before you go into the no's part. Like here, I would suggest that you do this instead. So instead of doing that, why don't we do the no and pop up the message that appears? Because if you go back to your program, like go back to your program, and when, for example, you don't put anything in there and you click done, you have a message that says please fill in all fields, right? So pop that message out. So that's going to be an output, right? So that's your output message. So this one, not data. Let's undo that. Let's delete that. Not the data symbol, the output symbol. So you can go for input output, and that's this one. No, not that one. Where's the, well, it sort of looks like the data because it is, I think it is the data symbol, guys. It's the data one. It's the only one that is there, so you can still use that one. Yeah, it's a data symbol. So if that's the case, you can definitely come here. And so if that's the case for the data symbol, hash password generated, I would say even take this out because, you know, you already have the password generating. And then finally, you're saying you can just display output registration. and save password to, well, you don't save it to the database like I told you. I'm just trying to tell you like an easier way you can do this. You don't save it to the database because they still need to click the submit button, but you're like saying generating hash password and it's finally generated, so you can output it on the which they don't need to see, to be honest. But that's like for you if you wanted like to output it. But I would say just output registration successful, or at least not registration successful, but data accepted or something. Entries are correct. I'm just making some modifications, okay? This is making more sense. Entries are correct because that's really what it is. And then now you have to click the submit button and then ends. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And so here, and then finally, you're like, okay, you can put this here in the end. This is like where it ends the process. I'm sort of zooming in and out, but yeah, you can see everything. Now, I said for the no, here it will be the same message, and you're like, output what you have there, and says, please fill in all fields. Or you can say all text boxes, enter all your data in all text boxes. You can do that. And then finally, what happens is after this, what happens? Then here you can like redirect them to the whole, what do you call it? Direct them back to the whole process, like to the, not to the data, of course, but to the start, like to the beginning where you actually had like at the you can also do like a connector, by the way, so that also works. So you can direct them here and then just take this one a little bit out, you know what I mean? So this is like for the no part. For the like when they say no, they haven't, the check has said they haven't completed all text boxes is no, then you're giving them the output message and you're sending them back again to go back and to start off by entering again the sign up process, re-entering their information. And here too is the same thing really. You just go down and then you do the same thing. You put the same symbol. And here would be again output. What would be that? You need to enter a password. Output, please enter. And you got to go back and be realistic here. You're doing things according to like when you're, so for example, again back here, right, it's when you don't have. So if I put my username, oh, let me erase this, give me a moment. So if I put my username, and I'm gonna get all of this stuff gone, and I put my username again, Alicia, and then I come here and put a password, and I'll just do cat again. And yeah, let's say let's say if I don't put that confirm password, it's gonna tell me to fill all the fields first. So okay, let's put the cat twice. So I put cat again, and then now I click done. And you see that it says, please must be at least, password must be at least 8 characters long, right? So that's the same message you're going to hear. So you're going to be like the same thing, print what you have. Passwords must be at least 8 characters. Oh, characters long. Okay, this is really important. So you put that out there. And so this again is going to symbolize your whole, and like I said before, and I forgot to tell you, we have something called a connector. And the connector really is just it's sort of like shows, because if you get to a point where you can't, and again, you can do this way if you prefer, by the way, if you don't have space, because you want to like show it. So, and then you can use a connector if you prefer as well. So here, and then what happens is that from here, you're like, okay, you're doing this, right? You're like, okay, from there, it goes all to start, sign up the process again. So go back and sign up again. So you're saying if no, right? If no. And again, if you want, you don't have to do this way. You can just pop up your arrow directly from here. So it really is the way you organize your things. And that's really how you would see it to be organized. So if you are a person who likes like straight lines, like I do, particularly me, then you can just reorganize your things to look nicely. So anyways, this is the part here. And now this one, do the passwords and confirm passwords match. Okay, so let's go see what message I get when it doesn't match. So here I might increase my symbol a little bit. I'm trying to make it such that all the messages enter as much as I can. However, you can still reduce the size of your message if you go onto the point size here. If you think it's too big or small or whatever it is, you can go ahead and reduce the size really. But I think the size is okay for what it is. So, anyways, when I put this message in there and I come back and I do something that doesn't match, okay, let's say I say okay here, right? Okay, and then I put like, I don't know, cat happy, something like that. And I click on done, and the passwords don't match. And you say password and confirm passwords do not match. So we know the message. So that's really what would pop up from here as well. So you go up and you print out your data, which is your output input. And you're like, output, right? This time it's password and confirm password do not match, right? And then you close this. So this is really what happens when password and confirm passwords don't match. And again, you can arrange it nicely and make it look good because you want it to be straight, right? So I particularly like straight lines, and I like it to be straight. So I'm trying to get it to look straight. I guess it's straight when it's like high up, but yeah, you get the idea. So and then I kind of want it to be, I think it's the straighter it can go. So, anyways, when you do that, then this also connects to back to the restart again to do the whole. Actually, you can just connect it in the most nicest, possible way where it's over anything, and so this goes back here to the process again to do the whole sign up thing. So this is really showing, and that's pretty much it. So you've just shown your sign up, you know. Um, and I think you don't necessarily need this unless you want to keep it, but the flowchart symbols are not needed. And you can increase this and sort of zoom in and see what you've done. So this is just the system flowchart to show how your sign up process works, which is the first part that you have here, right? The first part of the code hills is the sign up so far when the done button is clicked. Of course, other things need to work as well. That's what we're working on in class. So this is what you're expected to do. And when you're done with this, you can change the name and write sign up flowchart. That's what this is called in computer science terms. And this is Code Hills. I'm just going to write Code Hills 1001. And then, of course, once you're done, you've got to come back to the three lines right here. And again, like I said, this is available for free users. And you've got to go to where it says export. I believe if you go into export, you can export it as a PNG. So PNG meaning that it's going to be an image that you need to put in. So just click on PNG, and you can do maybe later for that. You don't really need, it's going to show you how it's going to look like. And you don't need to crop anything really. Just download it the way it is. So, and then the screen quality, you can go for print quality, whatever kind of quality you want, screen quality, and just download. Once you do download it, you can now have your picture put into your document. And that's what you have to also submit. So I'm going to go back into my program, and I made my computer because it's just downloaded. That's really what happens. It will download your picture for you, and you guys can see that all my photo is here, everything we've done is here. And just make sure you don't have this gapping, like there's a gap here. Just make sure everything is connected, there's no space. That I didn't see that. But anyways, once this is downloaded, you go back into your document that you were doing, and here you will come here and you will upload it. So how you would do that is you go to file and then you go to open, and then, of course, you go to upload and you go find the picture, right? Go find the picture, and the picture is in downloads for me at least. I believe it is, but if it is not popping up for whatever reason, I feel like my picture isn't popping up. And let me try dragging and dropping it. Okay, the PNG is not supported for upload. Let me see why. Isn't it a PNG? It is a PNG. Maybe because the file is very big. So what you can do is two things. You can come back and Well, let me see what when I try to drag and drop it, what happens. Oh, there it is. That was way easier. I just drag and dropped it. So when I did the upload thing, it wasn't working. I guess maybe it's just a file format thing, but if you just drag it and drop it in, it works pretty well. And just make it big enough so it's legible to see. And this is what you have to have so far ready for your submission for lesson 3. This is what you need to post on your social media along with the video recording explaining what you're doing up until now. This is important. So this is lesson 3. Code Hills. No, not lesson 3. Let's call it just Code Hills. 1001 SDLC proposal, system proposal design, system proposal, or system functionality slash design. Let's call that, because this is like not the conventional process, but it is like what you need to do. So if your image went down, just again resize it to go up. It's probably the reason why, because I just added an extra line. And then yeah, and then once you're done, this is what you need to download, and you need to submit and upload as a file. So you're probably going to go for download and download it as a PDF. And when you do, it downloads to your computer, and that's what you're going to submit in the Google form that we're going to be providing. So this is what we want to see, and make sure everything is neat and nicely done up until here, and make sure you're saving this document safely, because you're going to be adding more things in here. Okay, so once this is done, I just want to review a few things. In terms of the notes for this, I will have this notes available, but the software development lifecycle for the Rwandan Code Hills is really important to understand what the software development lifecycle is. It's stages of development a development team will follow to plan, build, test, and maintain a software, which is what we're doing. We focus on the problem definition, the proposed solution, and the system design. And we will walk you through each step with an example so you understand. So this really explains you're not supposed to copy and paste anything here, but understand why the problem definition and rationale is important, and give an example. Here is an example. Many early stage founders in Rwanda struggled to turn a raw business idea grounded in a local natural resource into a structured, functional, fundable business plan. So this is what it is. The proposed solution, and then an AI powered can generate a tailored business plan automatically. So we're not using AI. AI isn't a system, but we're having the bespoke human touch to this, where we are the developers and researching the plans pretty well based on the resources that are available on the app, that are being populated and updated every time based on demand and based on availability and based on things that people don't know about, that they need to know about. But this is just giving you an example. And then, of course, it's talking about the system design, the symbols that we just saw, the terminator, what that means, the process, the Rahamba symbol, which is the decision, the input and output, the flow line, which you saw the arrows, that's called the flow line. And here it gives you an example of like the starting page, the app would launch, the founder's home screen. Then there would be like a start my business button on the screen. Then did he tap the button? Yes. Then open the guide questionnaire. This is for an AI auto generated plan, but ours is not that. It's a bespoke, customized app that generates a plan based on real data, real information, and real research, with content to showcase this business in reality. So if no, then it goes back to it goes back to the process where he needs or she needs to click the start my business button, and it explains more about the symbols that you can review. So I hope you've understood. This needs to be ready by Wednesday, of course, for submission on the Google form. So just make sure your work is up and ready. And this is where we will be ending this. So good luck. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with here.